Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Nick and welcome to another speed build. So for this video, we are in the world of Chestnut Ridge, which is the world that comes with the Horse Ranch expansion pack. And today I'm sharing two townhouses, which I decided to build in this more downtown area of the world. I think it's the downtown area, but actually one of them is decorated for the Sims in Bloom Legacy Challenge, which I'm planning on playing here on the channel. I actually have a poll on my channel, so if you go over there and you go to the posts section, it's going to be the first thing that comes up, and you can pick between Sims in Bloom or Very Veggie. I had another poll before that where I had a few more options like the Pack Legacy Challenge by Rosanna TXT and also Not So Berry. But after thinking about it a bit, I think that Sims in Bloom and Very Veggie are the two legacies that I feel a bit more inspired to play. So this is why I have another poll over there, so you can choose between those two. Currently, I think that Sims in Bloom is winning, but of course, the tables can be turned around if you go over there and vote for yourself. So it will be actually very helpful if you did that. But coming back to the speed build, for this one I had a reference photo I was looking at. I wasn't really paying attention into like copying the facade of the house one-to-one. But I was looking at this kind of sort of like a shotgun house, and I thought that it would look cool if I built these two identical yet mirrored townhouses in the world of Chestnut Ridge. But because the first one is decorated for the Sims in Bloom Legacy Challenge, it's very yellow. There is a lot of white as well, mostly in the interior, but as always, I did combine it with some other colors as well. We have some more darker wood colors. We have some blue pops of color as well when it comes to the interior. But in case you don't know what the Sims in Bloom Legacy Challenge is, it's pretty much I think it's an 11 or 10 generation legacy challenge where each generation is based off of a specific flower, and you also have a color scheme you have to work off of. So for example, the first generation has the colors yellow and white. So that means that you need to create a sim that has these colors. So for example, my sim is blonde and she wears a lot of yellow, but you also need to decorate their homes based on these colors as well. So this is what we went for this one, but because I am me, I don't like going crazy with the specific colors. So for example, you won't have this house be like fully drenched in yellow. It will be the protagonist color over here, but we will have some other colors combined as well to make it a bit more balanced, I suppose, and not like super crazy. But of course, if that's your style, I'm not judging whatsoever. You do you, but it's just my personal preference. And because this house is basically, but because I built this one for my gameplay, it's going to be more catered towards my liking as well. But overall, I really like how these two turned out. Now, as I mentioned, the yellow one is for our generation and the green one is for the Armstrong household. Now, the Armstrong household consists of two sisters, Tiff and Elena Armstrong. Tiff is the fashion influencer. I think I gave her the Simfluencer career, and Elena is the athlete of the household. So she's she's very much into rock climbing, I suppose, and jogging and these kind of things, or maybe weightlifting, because we have the free weights now with adventure weights, and that's also something that I added to their townhouse as well in the backyard, which you will see a bit further down the speed build. But these are the two sisters. They live here together, and I think that neither the sisters nor our founder of the challenge are from Chestnut Ridge. I think they come from different worlds. Daisy, the founder of Sims in Bloom, I think comes from the cottage living world. What is it? Is it the Henford and Bagley? And I think that the Armstrong sisters come from Shenmai Shuno. This is why I think that Tiff is also a bit more fashionable in that sense. She is influenced by the city fashion, but they decided to move here because maybe But I think that both the sisters and Daisy decided to move here because it's a bit more cheap, and they are actually students at university. Not Daisy, but the Armstrong sisters are. Now, in terms of gameplay, I don't think I've enrolled them in any of the universities, but you know, theoretically, they are students, or at least they came here to kind of find something related to their job, I suppose. Or maybe Elena came here to practice, or maybe Elena came here because she found a coach that lives in Chestnut Ridge, and she really wants to be trained by this specific coach. And of course, her sister Tiff decided to come along and kind of change scenery. She doesn't want to live with her parents anymore. I haven't created the parents of the Armstrong sisters because we won't really focus on them. But what I had in mind is that, you know, we have these two different households living here. And as you can see, I created this flower bed in the center, or maybe in the middle of the lot, where I placed on either sides the mailboxes and the trash bins. So I think that this is a cute little spot where our founder and the household meet for the first time, like checking their mail and such things. So they meet there probably. But another thing I had in mind is that maybe one of the sisters is a romantic interest to our founder. So I think that Daisy would be romantically interested in Alina, and they might form like a relationship or just be friends. But I had in mind that maybe the relationship of Daisy with the next door household is going to be very friendly. They're going to be very close. Maybe some emotions will be developed, some feelings, but we don't know yet. I will show you the sisters actually when I give you a small tour of the two townhouses at the end of the video, but I'm gonna keep Daisy as a little surprise when the episode comes out. But of course, this is if you actually vote for Sims in Bloom to be the challenge that we will play on the channel. But yeah, moving back to the speed build, as you can see, the two townhouses have pretty much come already together. I'm just adding some activities in the backyard of the first townhouse. So we have like a table with 3 chairs to sit around. We also have a grill. I added some plant boxes because one of the goals of the first generation is to do a lot of gardening. This sim also has the freelance botanist. I feel they are in the gardener career, so of course you need a lot of gardening. Therefore, we have some plant boxes here and there for them to practice. Some of them, the way that I placed them here on the speed build, were not functional, so I had to go back in and alt place them a bit slightly so that they are functional. But I think that if you download it from the gallery, they're going to be perfectly fine. You won't have any issues. But yeah, I also wanted to add some greenery here and there because here in the more downtown area of the world, there's not a lot of greenery. Like we don't have a lot of flower beds or whatnot. So I did try to open up some spaces on the pavement to add like a tree or some other bits of landscaping to make it look a bit more lush. And I also added these, I don't think it's wisteria, is it called? I'm not really sure, but I added those flowers on the wall of the townhouses to make them look a bit more cute and welcoming, I suppose, and not too horse ranchy, if that makes sense. But yeah, I really like how these two turned out. They are pretty spacious. The first one, the one that we will be playing in, is actually very spacious. The living room is pretty big. Like, we have a big kitchen as well. The bedroom is a bit more restricted in that sense, but I don't think that's a problem. However, if we decide to start having a family and eventually have a baby, that will be an issue because we don't have a space for like a nursery or an extra bedroom. So I will either have to do some redecorating, or we will have to try and save up money to get a new house probably. So that's what I want to do. I want the first generation to live here for quite some time, and then as we progress I want to save money to build something else probably, which will have to be on budget. For this one, I didn't care about the budget, I just decorated however I wanted. And of course, both townhouses are pretty expensive. However, even though we'll be playing with the for rent system, these are going to be rentals. Rent is going to be pretty cheap, but the first time that you move to a house, you need to buy the furniture. So this is going to be pretty expensive. But for this one, I'm going to be using the free real estate cheat because, you know, especially when it comes to first generations, I want my Sims to live in a house that it's decent. You know, I don't like starter homes. I don't like building starter homes, and I don't like playing in starter homes because they look too empty, and that just really throws me off. It doesn't help me feel inspired to do any gameplay. But if that's your cup of tea, you do you. I do have a speed build of a starter home on my channel. I think it is the previous video. I'm not really sure what video is first and what's second, because sometimes I might be pre-recording things and uploading them in different orders, but I think it's the one right before this one. But as you can see, we have already moved to the second townhouse, which is the townhouse where the Armstrong sisters live. But even though I wanted both townhouses to look a bit more rustic, a bit more run down, I suppose, definitely not modern. That's something I wasn't going for in terms of like the structure, the main structure of the two townhouses. So as you may notice, the flooring is pretty old. The wallpaper on the walls isn't necessarily old or chipped or, I don't know, damaged, but it's definitely not like a super modern vibe overall. But I think that the Armstrong sisters are a bit more well off in terms of their financial situation. They might have their parents supporting them as well. So for this one, I wanted to go for something that felt a bit more modern and a bit more expensive without feeling like the sisters are rich or anything. They just have their parents support them for their first steps, but they're still in their journey of like discovering what they want to do professionally. Especially Elena, I think she is a bit torn between becoming an athlete or following like her passion, which is maybe music. Both are her passions actually, but I think that music is a bit more of her hobby, yet she still would like to do it professionally. So when we get to her bedroom, you will notice that we have a lot of instruments actually, and not so many and not so much athletic gear. We have some athletic activities when it comes to the back/side yard of the tiny house, but you know, she's a bit, you know, torn. She doesn't really know what she wants to do yet. And I feel that when it comes to Tiv, her sister, she knows that she wants to become a fashion designer or an influencer. But at the same time, she doesn't enjoy being in Chestnut Ridge. She is more of a city girl, of a city child, and I can definitely relate to that. Like, I am a person that doesn't like the countryside whatsoever. I have lived in a place that is more like countryside-ish, if that makes sense. I was studying there and, you know, wasn't enjoying it one bit. The only thing I liked was the university. I liked my university there. So, you know, I was patient and waited until I graduated, and then I had to come back to my townhouse, my home city, and you know, it's a lot better now actually. But I feel that Tiff, you know, struggles a bit living here. She doesn't know a lot of people, and I don't think that a lot of people relate to her. Like, they do not understand the whole influencer thingy, so they're like, kind of like, what do you do exactly? They may ask her, and she gets kind of pissed off and is like, I'm an influencer, and they're like, oh, so what is that exactly? It's not a real job. And you know, she gets mad at people, but you know, it's something temporary, so she doesn't really complain, and she's there to support her sister. So this is another thing that I had in mind. I feel that the sisters are very different from each other when it comes to their hobbies and their likes, but they're very supportive of each other and they're very close. They share everything. So there's a lot of love between them. And I feel that as we play the gameplay, the legacy maybe, I think we should try and have a good relationship with both sisters, because if we are to be in a relationship with Alina, then we have to be good friends with her sister as well, because they are very close, and we don't want this kind of hate between Sims. You know, we like some chaos, but not this kind of chaos. But as you can see, we have started decorating Tiff's bedroom. It's very purple. I did add some cream colors there to kind of lighten it up a bit. But I also added some darker colors. So we have some black, we have some darker wood colors as well to kind of tone it down and balance it off. But we have some pink, some purple, and I love these curtains which come with seasons, I believe. I like two curtains. I like the ones with seasons, and I like the ones that come with eco lifestyle. These two are one of my favorites, and of course I love the Desert Deluxe kit curtains, which I used in the living room and for the front door as well. So those ones I really like. And I love this bed that we got from High School Years. High School Years has some of the best items I have ever seen, even though they lean more towards like teenage aesthetic and such, and maybe a bit more, how can I say it, a bit more Gen Z-ish. They're very pretty, and I think that they are very versatile. They also come in a lot of fun colors. So if you like, legacy challenges like the Not So Berry Legacy or Sims in Bloom, where you have to use specific colors and you have to drench your whole house in these colors, I think that High School Years has some very fun items that can really help out and kind of push the color a bit further. This house is not necessarily small, but I didn't have a lot of space to kind of separate the living room and the kitchen and have two separate bedrooms as well. So we have the living room and kitchen be in one room, so it's more of an open floor plan in that sense, even though open floor plans are not my favorite. But over here, as you can see, we have Elena's bedroom. So for this one, I went for a lot of blue colors, a bit more of a darker color scheme to convey this more masculine energy for Elena. I will show you the sisters at the end of the video, but the way I created Elena, she is more of a masculine sim. She has more of a masculine energy, which I really like, actually. And as you can see over here, we have the standing piano, we have a guitar, we also have a mic because she likes to sing. And above the standing piano, I have this board, which I think works like a mood board for her for inspiration, because she has all these different stick notes, probably, and photos pinned over there to kind of give her some inspiration for new songs to write. And of course, over her bed, she has some posters of her favorite bands and little trinkets that really help her conceive new ideas, I suppose. But I think that in terms of her storyline, as she progresses to become a professional athlete, and she trains really hard for it, at some point she might be singing at a bar or whatever, and then an agent might discover her and send her for a record deal, and that's probably when the issues start to occur, because that's when she's going to be torn. She won't really know what to do because she loves being an athlete. She likes the adrenaline, she loves the environment, she loves training, but she also likes music, and that's a very difficult decision to make. Of course, the sisters will be on the gallery. I will either have them already on there by the time you're gonna watch the video, or I'm gonna upload them around the time that the first episode is gonna come out. But if you want to play with them, I'm gonna have the storyline written on the description through the EA gallery for you to check. But if you play with them, maybe you can write their own story. You know, you might decide, Elena, to become an athlete and not follow music as a career path, or the other way around, or she might do something completely different. It's gonna be totally up to you. But I think that it's a very fun storyline. I don't really go that deep when it comes to storylines whenever I build houses, but for this one, for some reason, I felt very, very inspired. Probably because one of them is going to be like the romantic interest for Daisy, the founder of Sims in Bloom. But I don't know, I really like the sisters, actually, and I would like to play with them as well. And I love their house. What can I say? I really like these two townhouses. They're one of my favorite builds I've done probably ever, but I think I say that for pretty much all of my builds, which is like a good thing. You know, you need to love what you do. But yeah, but as you can see for the porch, we have some two seats over there where the two sisters might sit together in the afternoon and sip some coffee, read their book, chat a bit, or gossip. And they also have this shoe rack where they leave their shoes outside the house. It's something that I'm not very familiar with. We don't leave our shoes outside of the house, but I feel that because Chestnut Ridge is a bit more of a relaxed city or town, maybe they don't have a lot of criminality, so it's pretty safe. They shouldn't worry about people stealing their shoes. And in the backyard, we have some activities. So I added some free weights for Alina to practice. And we also have a ping pong table in case they want to host any parties or they have friends over and they want to play, or even the sisters might play together. And I also added the art easel, which I'm not really sure who or maybe which of the sisters gonna use. Probably Tiff. She might be a bit more of an artistic sim in the sense that she wants to be a fashion designer, so she might want to do some painting and kind of practice her painting skills and then move on to clothes designing. I'm not really sure. But moving on, we have finally arrived to the yellow house, the first townhouse, which is going to be for the Sims in Bloom founder. Now for this one, again, I was working off of yellow and white. So this is what I tried to do. I added, first of all, this yellow plaster, which is from Business and Hobbies? I'm not sure. Business and Hobbies has very nice colors when it comes to the wallpapers, but I'm not really sure if this one is from there. But as you can see, we have this big fireplace, and on either side we have two windows where I placed the cats and dogs curtains. These curtains are not my favorite. They're very cottagey, and like cottages are not my favorite type of build to make, but these ones are very pretty, and I love the green or blue detail they have on there because it kind of breaks off the yellow and white color scheme, which is something I like. Again, I don't go crazy with the color, so I love having some accent colors, and usually I like to use complementary colors to kind of make it look a bit more interesting and fun. So for this one, because we're using a lot of yellow, I decided to use some blue accent colors, or maybe purple. I'm not really sure if I used purple here, but we definitely have blue, either darker shades or lighter shades. And I think that the item that inspired me to do that mostly is the couch that comes with the Paranormal Stuff Pack, because it has this little turquoise or light blue drape. I'm not really sure about like the terminology of items, but like a blanket thrown on top of it, if that makes sense. So I went off of that. So we have some different blue shades thrown here and there. So here we have a pretty big living room. We have the fireplace. On the left side of the fireplace, we have a console table with an old TV. So for this townhouse, I went for a bit of an older vibe and feel. It is a bit more rundown, which is actually another reason why we wanted at some point to move out of here and get a bigger house or a bit of a newer house as well. But at the right side of the fireplace, I added this, what is it, like a music station sort of thingy where they can play some music and listen to it and dance. I'm not really sure if we have a lot of space here for dancing, but I think that's something they can do. However, this item is pretty annoying. Like if you have speakers or such items that play music, your Sims are for some reason always driven to listen to music and dance, which is pretty annoying. I don't really like that. I like when I want them to listen to music, not whenever they want to do that. But you know, it is what it is. I really wanted it to place it here, and it also kind of filled up the space nicely. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna turn it off whenever it gets too annoying. But we also have a little desk over there with some decorations. I didn't add a laptop or a computer over here because, as I mentioned, the first generation of Sims in Bloom has to do a lot of gardening. So because they're not a really tech savvy person, I didn't really think that they would need a computer or that it would make sense. So I just decided not to have one here, but of course we can save some money and buy one if we really need it. However, I think that whatever you do on the computer, you can do on your phone, apart from playing games, I think. I'm not really sure. But yeah, the living room is pretty much coming together. As you can see, off of the entrance of the house, we have this little nook where I added a mirror. We also have a console table with a lamp and some other decorations and a dresser. Now, at some point, I will delete the dresser and add a cat tree because I was imagining that the sim would like to adopt a pet at some point. But then, as I finished this build, I decided to go back in and delete the cat tree and add the dresser back because I wasn't really sure if we are going to have a cat or a dog. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just delete it and see how it goes as we play the challenge. And also because I want people to download this for their own legacy challenge, I was like, you know what? Having a cat or maybe a pet in general already in this house doesn't really make sense because it sets the storyline to be very specific and a lot of people might not follow this specific storyline. So, I want this to be a bit more generic, but specific to the Sims in Bloom legacy. And as you can see, we have moved on to the bedroom. I added this very cute bed, double bed actually, from the Cottage Living expansion pack, which comes in this checkered yellow bedding. And I really like how this turned out. And I like the frame of the bed because it's a bit more light. It's silver in color, so it doesn't make the room too dark. Because I also added the cats and dogs curtains again, but in a different swatch. I used the brown swatch, so I think that it kind of make the room a bit darker, so the frame of the bed lightens it up a bit more. But we also have another dresser over there. We have an armchair. We have 2 side tables and 2 lamps, which I did use them with in the swatch that has like the light blue covering of the lamp. I'm not really sure what the round part, the surrounding part is called when it comes to lamps, but whatever. I think you get what I mean. And I also added this coat hanger item that we got with one of the most recent Pride updates, which I really like. It has like a coat and some other decorations and it looks very, very fun. But yeah, the room is pretty small. So again, if we have a baby, I'm not really sure where it's gonna sleep. We might change one of the rooms and turn it into like an extra bedroom, but that will need some redecorating and I don't think I want to do that because I really like how this one has turned out. So I don't really want to mess with it. But again, it is one of our goals to save some money or earn some money and build a bigger home to be able to have our whole family, But anyway, moving on to the kitchen, it's a pretty big space. We have a lot of counter space, but as with all of my kitchens, when I have like a lot of counters, I have the urge to fill them up with a lot of counter, which eventually makes them unusable. But in case you have the Cottage Living expansion pack and you want Sims to cook with you, you'll need to delete some of the clutter to free up some counter space so that they will be able to cook as well. Otherwise, if you only have one Sim, you only care about them doing all the cooking, you're going to be fine as is. You won't need to delete or change anything. But I use these counters and cabinets that come with the Cozy Kitsch kit. Is it Cozy Kitsch? No, it's the Country Kitchen kit. Right. I think we have a similar kitchen set with the Cottage Living expansion pack. They do look very similar, but I think that this one is from the Country Kitchen kit, if I'm not mistaken. I might be, but I don't think I am. But for this one, I really like the top of the counters, which is this more wood color in like a honey shade as well. I really like this kind of wood color that is a bit dark, but not like super dark or moody. And it also blended together with the rest of the items I placed here, like with a round table that came with the Cozy Kitsch kit, and also with the china cabinet I placed there as well. But as you notice, I do have the tendency to move around a lot. Like I don't finish each room and then move on to the other. But what I do is I usually place like the main furniture I have in mind for each room. And then I slowly go back and forth between each room to to add some extra clutter and kind of finalize them. I know some people like to finish one room and then go to the other, but I don't know. I think that the way that I build is a bit chaotic in that sense. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm not really sure if you, like as a viewer, find it confusing or annoying. But you know, it's my style. I really apologize if that's kind of weird. But yeah, we are pretty much finishing up the kitchen. I did add a pet door, and I will also add at some point what is it called, like a feeding machine for pets, which I will again delete because I want this build to be a bit more general and a bit more open to other people to use for their own legacy challenges. But of course, if you want to have a pet, you can add them back, and you can actually go back to the video and see how I place them and do the same if you're a bit confused, if you don't know if you have enough space. But when I play tested it, I did so with the cat tree and the football and the pet door as well. So I think that everything should be functional. You shouldn't have any problems. The only thing I had a problem with was the plant pots on the side yard. So I did move them around a bit more to make them functional. So again, I think you should be fine. But here we are finally in the bathroom. It's a pretty small bathroom, but I really like how it turned out. I used the base scheme floor tiles and wall tiles as well. Now the tiles for the walls came with one of the most recent updates, where we got this subway tile in these very funky and nice colors. And I'm very happy that I used this yellow swatch over here, because I feel that yellow overall is a pretty difficult color to build with, especially when it comes to tiles. I think that it can look pretty cartoony and pretty childish. Even though I like the cartoony vibe and feel of The Sims 4, it can look a bit off sometimes. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. But of course, here, as you can see, we have a sink, a toilet. We also have a shower, which is base scheme as well. And I really like the fact that it comes with a tile texture itself, that it's pretty much the exact same color as the wall. So I really enjoyed how it blended together. But here on the sink, we have some toothbrushes. We also have a hair dryer, which are clutter pieces that I love using. It makes the space look a bit more lived in and a bit more realistic, so I really love it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the speed build. So let's jump into the game and let me give you a little tour of the two townhouses. So we have the two townhouses over here, and as you can see, we have the Armstrong sisters as well. So over here we have Alina, the athletic sister of the two, and right here is Tiff, the Simpluencer sister. So here in the porch, as you can see, we have some plants, the shoe rack I was talking to you about, and two seats over here with some mugs and a book, because I think that they like to spend some time together sitting around on the porch and chatting a bit. Here, as you enter the house, you're right into the living room. We have a small dresser by the entrance and a plant. We also have a small fireplace. We have a TV setup with a couch and some games on the coffee table. I think this game is functional as well. Right here, we have a small kitchenette with this oven. I didn't add a normal oven because I didn't really have the space, and because I placed a window over here, it kind of looked weird. So instead, I used this portable sort of oven. We have the sink, and here we have this pink fridge with all these little drawings and pictures on it, which is pretty nice, and a very cute trash bin. And of course, I have a coffee making machine because I feel that especially one of the sisters, the athletic one, is going to pulling all-nighters, training in the morning, and then at night she's going to be writing songs probably. Over here we have Tiff's bedroom, the Simpluencer's bedroom, and over here I like this double bed because it looks holographic, or without necessarily being holographic, which is very cute. We have the two dressers because she probably has a lot of clothes, and there are also some boxes where she probably keeps all her shoes, I think. And we also have this item over here, which I'm not really sure what it's called, but I think that it's like a nice little Easter egg, and it kind of shows that when she went to high school, she was a cheerleader. We have some decorations here and there, and she also has a yoga mat, which isn't functional. Over here, we have Elena's bedroom, the athletic sim of the two. And as you can see, her bedroom is mostly decorated in like a music theme. So we have the guitar, we have a microphone, the standing piano, the mood board, I suppose. We have some speakers. Right by her bed, she has her headphones because she is either writing music or listening to it all the time. Above her bed, she has some Polaroids that she's taken with her friends or whatnot, and she has some posters of like her favorite band. Over here we have a small bathroom with a shower, a toilet, some decorations. We have a first aid box. I'm not really sure what it's called, or like a pharmacy corner, I guess. We also have a sink and like a towel and a mirror. And over here in the backyard, we have the art easel that probably the sim influencer uses. And then we have like the ping pong table. We have 2 bikes for the 2 of them to move around. So of course the pink one is Tiff's and the blue one is Alina's. We also have like a sleeping bag arrangement over here for Alina. I think that she likes going camping a lot. And we also have the free weights that came with the Adventure Weights expansion pack for Alina to do some free weightlifting. Moving on to the townhouse for the Simpson Bloom Legacy, we have this porch with like a rocking chair and this bench where the sim has placed a lot of her plant boxes or maybe her plant pots because she's doing a lot of gardening, so she doesn't really have the space to store everything she needs. Over here by the entrance we have this small desk with this cat calendar because I think she is more of a cat person, but if we decide to get a dog, we're gonna change it to the swatch of the dog. Over here we have this pair of boots which actually my heir or maybe my founder actually wears, and I think it's very fun. Right here we have this little corner which serves like a storage area. We have the dresser where she might store some of her clothes or maybe just some random items. And over here, this console table, I think this is like a cabinet as well. So there are some drawers and stuff where she can place things. We have a mirror so that she can check herself whenever she wants to get out of the house. Right here, we have the living room with a fireplace. We have some knickknacks on the fireplace. We have like a small console table with some plant decorations, and we have the TV, the music station, and underneath the coffee table we have some board games probably. And over here by the table we have this salt lamp, which is my favorite thing of all time. I think I use it in pretty much all of my builds, and of course a mug, which again I use all the time. Here in the bedroom we have this double bed from Cottage Living with a do side table and the lamps that I really love. And I also placed this alarm clock which is actually functional, and you can set it up and it will go off in the morning or whenever you set the time. And I love these art pieces over here. They are pretty fun. They have some yellow and orange, which ties in with the theme of the generation, but we also have some bluer and turquoise pops of color to make it look a bit more interesting. I love this carpet, or maybe this rug that we got with one of the kids. It looks very nice and it adds a more interesting color as well. We also have an armchair, a lamp, a dresser, basket over here with some clothes on top, with a clothes basket on top. And here we have this coat rack that I was talking to you about, and it looks so fun. I love this swatch with the shirt and this little handbag and some other decorations. Over here we have this bathroom with a shower, a sink, a toilet, and a mirror, and I love the yellow tile again. It's so beautiful. Over here you can see the railing of this staircase kind of glitching in, and that's because of the more recent update where you can decide on which side you want the railing to be on. So I forgot to change that before I uploaded this to the gallery, so you'll have to do it yourself, but it shouldn't be difficult. And you also don't need any mods to do that, so you should be fine. And over here we have this big kitchen with the yellow counters and cabinets, the rounded table, and this china cabinet. We have a 4-seater table, and over here we have like the sink. I love the light blue appliances. I think it matches very nicely with the curtains on the cabinets as well. And over here in the side yard we have this 3-seater table with a live plant. Over here we have a grill, and we also have some different plant boxes as well for our sim to do some gardening. We have these standing ones and we have these regular ones as well. And I finally added this yoga mat because our heir needs, or maybe our founder, I keep calling her an heir, but it's the founder who needs to also develop their wellness skill too, so we will need it. And we also have some other plants and the yellow bike, which we will need. And I also added this scarecrow decoration that we got with season, and it's actually functional. I think you can talk to it, and at some point you can befriend it and it can become alive. So that's kind of weird. I've never played with this one, so it's gonna be fun to see how it's gonna work. But that's gonna be it. So the 2 townhouses are already on my gallery. I will have my EA ID on the description down below if you want to check it out and download it for yourself. As you can see, it comes at 89,500 simoleons. It is built in Chestnut Ridge on the lot The Oak Barrel, so I do have some details on the description for you to help you out and figure out where it goes, and it's built on a 30 by 20 lot. So this is gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to be notified whenever I post a new video, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon down below. Of course, I will have my other socials down below, as well as my EA Gallery ID for you to check out my other builds if you want to download them and place them in your game. And this is gonna be it for today. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!